keep repeating things that they hate, and it seems as if they are not able to get out of it. Now, it reminds me of a discussion I had with a friend of mine some days ago. He actually traveled to where he grew up and he came back, and he was telling me, and he said, "Oku, if you want to see stagnation, that you should visit where you grew up. People that you left 10, 20 years ago, the hairstylists, the store owners, the barber, and everyone, is as if they are in stagnation, staying at the same level where you left them, selling at the same quality, at the same quantity, giving exactly the same thing." He said that the sad part of this thing he realized is that these people had dreams of going higher than where they are today, but it's as if they are stuck in that particular level. But the truth is that they have opportunities maybe that they did not use. So when he told me that, I began to ask him questions. I said, "Do you really think so? Do you really think that these people didn't want to grow? They didn't want to do anything with their lives?" He told me that they are very hard workers. They work very hard, very dedicated to what they are doing. But the issue that he found out is that they never grew beyond where they are. So I told him that many people are actually stuck at the point where they are, not because they are lazy. They are stuck because they became good at the patterns that they had, and they never questioned those patterns. Now you see, people work for many years, maybe as barbers, as hairstylists, as traders, as drivers, and office workers. Now, they work from outside. But when you're looking at it from outside, it looks as if there is no change. It seems as if they don't want to make any form of change. But to be honest, most of them didn't choose the stagnation that they are going through today. Now, most of them wanted to become better, but they just learned how to cope. They learned how to manage the pain and the level where they have found themselves. They learned how to repeat what they've seen that works, even though it doesn't deliver sufficiently to them. But they just stick to it. And here is the uncomfortable truth. Repetition without awareness eventually becomes a prison, because they come out every day and they sell at that exact quantity, even though it's not good enough for them. They continue with that, and today when you now travel back to see them, it's as if they are stuck. It's as if they don't want to grow, but it's just that it has formed a conditioning around them, so it has become a prison around them. Not because the work they are doing is bad, no, but it is because the thinking behind it was never examined. And this is what is with a lot of us today. A lot of us are involved in different things that we are doing without pausing and pondering, without any form of self-awareness, without trying to understand, okay, this thing that is happening this way, is this how it's actually meant to be? Is this all that we can get? Now, self-awareness is not self-criticism. No, that's not what it is. It is not beating up yourself or saying I'm good for nothing or asking yourself what is wrong with me. No, that's not what it is. Self-awareness is simply asking, why do I keep choosing this thing that I'm choosing? Who taught me this pattern of life that I'm living? What is the belief behind the way I'm living? That belief that I've not realized. Now, let me tell you something. Belief is something that actually formed without our permission. I would explain. Beliefs are things that come from our childhood. Now, you grew up in a family where you guys had barely nothing to eat, and you hear your father say at different times that, "Do you know how hard I work for me to make the money I make?" And what that does is that it puts the belief in you that for you to make money, you must have to work very hard. Money doesn't grow on trees. So it formed that belief. Another thing that forms your belief is your environment. You grew up in a place where you guys are barely surviving. I could remember where I grew up. I grew up in a place where we barely had water. Yeah, we had to trek for many miles to go fetch water and bring back. So that kind of scarcity mentality will begin to form your belief system even without you knowing it. Then you can also build your belief from fear. Some certain things that you were warned against, things that you were hushed against, things that you were threatened about. Don't do that. If you do it, you're going to get into trouble. And hearing that puts a lot of fear in your body. And because of that, it forms a belief that you have held on to 20 years after, 30 years after. Now, some of your beliefs also come from observation and instruction. There are some certain instructions that you are given and you are told, no, you can't question it. Just take it like that. That's how it is. In my part of the world, the elders will always tell you that what the elder sees sitting down, even if you climb to the highest Iroko tree, you can't see it. Does that mean they are wrong? No. But I'm just trying to tell you how belief is formed. Now, you never sat down to design the belief system that you're operating with today. You just absorbed them. You just absorbed all the belief system that you have. Now, that is why self-awareness is very, very necessary. That is why self-awareness must come before direction. Now, if you don't know why you are where you are today, then when you talk about change, it sounds as stress to you. You go like, leave me where I am. I'm okay the way I am. Why? Because you have become permanented by the conditioning that are around you. But once clarity comes, peace comes first, then direction follows, and then you begin to see that change becomes natural to you and not forced. Now, this is why you need to examine yourself. Even as we're starting the new year, we are 7 days into the new year, you must ask yourself, why do I believe the things I believe? Why am I acting the way I'm acting? What is informing my decision to be who I am? Is it from the things that happened in the past? Because you could be like those people that my friend was telling me about, who he feels are in stagnation because they've continued doing exactly the same thing 20, 30 years after he left them. The question is, your 2025 and the things that happened in there, are you actually excited about them? Is that the best the year can bring? Question, why did you react to things the way you did? Why did you approach some certain things with fear? Why did you not take the risk that you saw, that opportunity that you said is risky? Why didn't you take it? There is something that is informing it, and the very first thing that you need to do is to start with self-awareness. This is why force doesn't last. Because I know that in this year, a lot of persons have said, this is my New Year resolution. New year, new me. We all say that to excite ourselves. But before we get to the 15th, we see that a lot of us have dropped those things that we talked about. Why? Because force will never last. And that is why motivation fades. People that will come out and tell you, this is your year, you're going to hit it big and all that. Are they lying to you? No, they are not. Just that what is causing the issue is down, deep down in your subconscious, in the roots. Meanwhile, what you're trying to solve is on the leaf. So what you're doing, or what most of us are doing, is trying to bring down a tree. But what we're doing is just removing the leaves. We are removing the leaves. It won't work. Why? Because after removing the leaves, it will still grow another leaf. What is happening is deep down in the roots, and that is where belief is found. Belief is found at the base of that thing you're doing. There is something that is making you act the way you did, and that is why you got the kind of results that you got. Now, when we say resolutions, they don't last. They will always fail. Why? Because you don't change by force. You change by understanding. So the first thing you need to do is to question why you're doing what you're doing. And by questioning it, most times you might not have the right questions to ask to provoke answers to flow out and to be able to pinpoint what it is that is causing it. That's why you need someone to talk to. You need a mentor. You need a friend who has your ears, someone who is able to help you so that you don't end this year the same way you ended last year. A lot of us come into a year with a lot of excitement, but at the end of the year, it's as if the year has become our enemy. It's the year that made us to stall. It's the year that made us not to prosper in the things that we wanted to do. We go like, this year, carry every of the bad things that you came with and leave. We said it 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, and we just said it some days ago. The question is, what are you going to do in this year to make sure that you do not repeat the same thing, but you say things like, wow, 2026 was an amazing year. I enjoyed it. All I'm waiting is to build on what I've achieved in 26 when I get to the next year. That is what you are meant to be saying. Right? So in conclusion, you don't change by force. You change by understanding. Please get that. Even if you forget every other thing I say, you don't change by force. You can't force it. You can only do that by understanding. And understanding begins with self-awareness. When you get to know yourself, that is where it starts. So the key to doing exploits in this year, the key in fulfilling that prosperity that you have been given is found in know yourself. If you know yourself, then you can start the journey of correcting the things that are not right and setting in motion the kind of things that you want to see. My name is Okwi, the Wealth Maestro. So glad to be with you on this edition of Ace with Okwi. Please make sure that you follow me on all social media platforms at Okwi W Maestro. Let's get to talk some more and get to learn from each other, because in this year, our goal is to achieve very clear, very distinct excellence. Hope you're there with me. Hope you will join me. God bless you.